Kal Kadosh, Boker Or. I wanted to share with you an idea on this week's parasha, which I'm sure probably bothered a lot of people. You start reading the entire parasha of Bil'am, and it says, Vayam Bilam Vayomer El Avdei Balak. Says Bil'am, and he tells Balak, the people of the Balak, the servants of Balak, Imiteli Balak Melo Veto Kesed, you could give me all the money in the world. Lo uchal la'avor et pi Hashem Elokai. I will not be able to go against the words of Hashem, my God. La'asot ketana u'gedolah, to do nothing, not for the good and not for the bad. Whatever Hashem says, that's it. There's nothing what I could do. The Oziel comes and he asks, and he says, 1 second. When we come and we see these words, this is powerful. Bil'am is recognizing, and he's telling the servants of Balak, I cannot move a finger. I cannot change an iota without a Kadosh Baruch Hu. I cannot rebel against him. I cannot do anything. So he says, and he says even later on also, he says, I can't speak anything, whatever Hashem puts in my mouth. But at the end, he did go. At the end, he actually did go. So how does it make sense that he's saying on one point, I cannot go against Hashem, and then at the end, he does go against Hashem? So how does that translate? What exactly is going on? That's the first thing that we have to actually understand. The Saba Mikelem, remember that was the Oziel. Oziel is Rav Lev Chasman, that he was the rabbi of Rav Shalom Shodron, that he was the rabbi of Rav Chaim Shmulevitz. Sometimes we're talking about generations from the mir of the Gdolei Roshei Shivot. Then we have the Saba Mikelem, Rav Simcha Zisel Ziv of Kelem. So the Saba Mikelem comes and he says that Mamash, this is a bitul, this is that he's annulling himself as if that he's a nobody. So if he got such a high level of understanding that he's nobody, usually you would come to one of these people, they're haughty, right? Imagine, he's got the power of cursing an entire nation, of blessing an entire nation. No, he's like a Navi greater than Moshe Rabbeinu in Nevuah. I'm saying these type of people, usually their noses are in the air. They think that they're a know-it-all. They think that they're best in everything. So what's going on exactly? More than that, we actually see that Bilam comes and he sends other messengers. And only afterwards does HaKadosh Baruch Hu come and he says, he says, you know what? If they called you, go. And then he sends a malach. So I don't understand what he's trying to do. What is HaKadosh Baruch Hu trying to do? He comes and he tells them, listen, by the way, you could go. But 2 minutes later, he's already sending him on the back end, right? People that are going to stop him. So Skilo, I'm giving you the permission to go, but I'm going to make sure that you're not able to go. How does that make sense? Then all of a sudden, the malach comes and tries stopping him. And he starts hitting him and everything. Finally, he realizes the malach, and he says, I didn't know you were here. I didn't realize you were here. And if it's bad, I'll go back. Now, one second. What was the back and forth between the malach? Right? What's the back and forth? By the way, if you're not, I'll go back. What's going on? And then, what's the tana against him? If he didn't see the malach, what do you want from him? And then what? Because the aton, the donkey came and smashed his leg into the wall, he's justified. He's going to hit the aton. Okay, so it makes sense. So what is it? He tells the malach, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. So what's going on? The Sefer Hasidim says, when the malach told him, why did you hit it? There's not even a tzar b'lechaim. He should have hit him because he smashed his leg against the wall. So what does that mean? And then there it says midat adin, midat rachamim, it's Elokim, vayomer Elokim, and it says Hashem. What's going on? So the Sefer Hasidim comes and he says like this. Listen to this. The Sefer Hasidim comes and he says, the Yesod Gadol in Avodat HaKadosh Baruch Hu is an incredible Yesod, the foundation, one of the fundamentals of Judaism. Le'olam ye adam arum be'ira'ah. What does that mean? You have to be unclothed with fear. What does that mean, unclothed with fear? He says, if a person could just understand, right, what he was not commanded, he's going to be punished that he didn't pay attention. Meaning he's not punished because he's punished because he didn't pay attention. Meaning a person is going to be, why didn't you pay attention to it? Now you're going to say, yeah, but what am I supposed to? No, but you didn't pay attention. If you would have paid attention, you would have realized that in itself is already enough for punishment. That in itself is already enough that you're going to be punished. So he says, how do we see this? He comes and he says, for example, like so Moshe Rabbeinu gets upset at the generals, and he tells them, why didn't you kill the women? So they went and they said, why should we kill the women? We had to kill the men. So he says, yeah, but 1 second. It says, he says, the women were the cause of the sin. So obviously, when they said that you can't let them live, it also included the women. So the same thing was Bilam. Bilam, the fact that he should have realized, listen, I'm here on this donkey for I don't know how many years. This donkey never did this in his lifetime. What's going on? There's something wrong. There's something that's fishy here. Once, 2, 3 times, 3 strikes, you're out. What's going on? And he didn't pay attention. That's why, right, this happened. So he says like this. He says, really, Be'emet, he should have paid attention. 1 second, I'm going out to curse this nation. Maybe HaKadosh Baruch Hu does not want me to go out to curse them. And that, in essence, is actually brought down in the Sforno. The Sforno says, Chatati lakshot oref. I sinned because I turned my nape. I was stubborn. Ki lo yadati, I didn't know, and I should have suspected it. And therefore, ashuvali, I should go back. Because I don't want to go against the will of Hashem. Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave me permission. And therefore, even Bilam HaRasha understood that the taromet, meaning what against him was, is that he didn't pay attention. Not that he was commanded to do something and he didn't do it. He didn't pay attention to what was going on. And that's also the Shla Kadosh, Kedushat Levi, and many others as well, where they say the exact same thing. Here, it was that he should have realized what is the Ratzon of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So Rav Chanan Wasserman comes and he says, that's explanation, Lo uchal lavor et pi Hashem. What does that mean? He knew that it was to come and to curse the Jewish nation. That was against the will of Hashem. But until he wasn't commanded from Hashem not to do it, he wanted to do it. And that's why he was just waiting for Pi Hashem. Meaning, sometimes it happens that your mother or your parents, they want something, but they don't tell it to you. Now, you know that this is what they want, but you won't do it until they ask you. That was Bilam. Bilam knew from the beginning that he wasn't supposed to curse the Jewish nation. But as long as it didn't come out from the mouth of Hashem, the Pi Hashem, even though he knows that this is what Hashem wants, he's happy to do it. Because that's what he wants to do. So he's, no problem. I was never commanded. You need to be commanded. You know exactly what Hashem wants. You need to be commanded. No, that's exactly what happened. What happened was that he already understood that as long as Hashem doesn't say it, I'm good. Meaning, as long as I keep quiet, I'm okay. I can do whatever I want. Even though I know that it's not good. And I know that that's against the will of Hashem. And that's what they come, right? And the rabbis say it's so important for us to learn. Why? A person that's baldat, he understands this yesod, that everything that happened, that's the Ritzon Hashem. It once happened with the Chavetz Chaim. Listen to this. The Chavetz Chaim once, how did they start Yeshivat Volozhin? Yeshivat Volozhin was started from Rav Chaim Volozhin, the student of the Gaon Vilna, the Gra, and Rav Eliyahu Vilna, that was the Vilna Gaon, right? We're talking about one of the greatest in generations. Yeah? What happened was that Rav Chaim Volozhin used to go and he used to sell in the market. So one time he went to a market and he used to be like a money changer. So he once went, and what happened was that somebody came and he told him, what are you doing here? What are your actions that you're here? What are you doing here? What are your actions that you're here? And Rav Chaim Volozhin stopped and he said, wow, he just gave me a message. Usually, right, if somebody comes and they're going to say certain things, many times it's not what they say. It's the way that they said it. And then all of a sudden, that startled him. Once I go, what are you doing here? What are your actions that you're here? So he went and he said, 1 second, now I understand what's happening. I'm a chalfan. What's a chalfan? A money changer, but it also comes from the word of changing. Machlif, he's changing olam nitzchi beolam hazeh. He's changing the world to come for this world. He says, how could it be that he's coming and he's investing so much power into changing money? He says, 1 second, what am I doing? What are my actions? What am I doing here? So he went and he started the yeshiva of Volozhin. So Rav Chaim always used to remember, right? How did it start from this, right? And therefore he says, HaKadosh Baruch Hu comes and he tells Shemuel HaNavi that he has to come and anoint Shaul HaMelech. Now, we know that Shaul had no idea. Shaul didn't know he was going to become king. So he went by coincidence, right? B'mikre, this is the Rak Hashem that we spoke about the other day, right? B'mikre, he went in coincidence, right? What happened was that his father came and he said, listen, go with one of the lads. Why? Because you have to look for the sheep. So he went from one place to another place to another place, right? Now, he didn't find them. So he went and he didn't want to come back with his hands empty. So when he came to the city of Shemuel HaNavi, right, he went and he said, Hinena, this is the lad. The other boy comes and he tells Shaul, Hinena ish Elokim ba'ir hazot, there's a holy man in the city. Va'ish nichpad, he's very, very respected. Anything that he speaks will come. Why don't we go? And maybe he's going to show us our path which we went on. Asher halachnu. Halachnu is past tense. Now, the question is, why past tense? It should be future tense. Meaning, if you're missing your sheep and you were searching from one city to another city to another city, you didn't find it, you come to the Navi and you ask him, by the way, can you tell us where to go? Tell us where to go. They didn't say that. They said, right, instead of saying Asher nelech, Asher alachnu, in the past, why? They went there and they didn't understand why. Meaning, if I had to go to city A, B, C, D, why did I have to go through all that? If I didn't find the sheep there, why did I have to go through all these places? So therefore, there's a reason. So I went to the Navi to find out, why did I go there? What was the mission? What was so important that I had to go to these certain places? And therefore, says the Chavetz Chaim, so to Bil'am. Lefi Chazal, he had a very high neshama, and they tried opening up his eyes. But everyone knows what happens about the things that happens with the hints and everything which goes on. So at the beginning, and even until the end, he said to Bilam. What does that mean? He went so low because he didn't want to understand the will of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And that's why the Torah says, Vayichar af Elokim, Hashem got angry. Midat Adin was angry against him. Why? Because he wanted so much the money and the power and the kavod and the respect and the honor that, but what happened? There was Midat Rachamim that came and said, you know what, 1 second. Let's send him a malach a few times. Malach of Rachamim, malach Hashem, to have mercy on him. But maybe Bemet he's going to come back. And ad kedei kach that he even had to open up the mouth of the ton, the mouth of the mule, in order to speak to him. But he still didn't want to speak. He still didn't want to pay attention. He didn't want to understand what was going on. So he says, so now we understand, right? Why is it that the Torah at the beginning says Elokim, and then it says, right, which is Midat Adin, and afterwards it says Midat Rachamim, because HaKadosh Baruch Hu still had mercy on him, even after that. And therefore, says the Saba Mikel, and we see from here that the entire thing was Lo uchal lavor et pi Hashem. But really, Be'emet, he wanted to go against Hashem. I can't go against if I have a command. If I have a command of Hashem, I cannot go against it. But as long as it's not a command and it's internal, it's in your mind, whatever's in your mind, it doesn't really matter to me. Because in your mind is nothing. It's everything that goes in the command. If the king comes and he tells you, right, you could say, but I wasn't commanded. 100%. He's correct. So now what are you going to do? You could only punish him because he should have known better. And then, yes, then that's our parasha, that he should have known better. However, though, this is just showing you, though, the concept of what we're speaking about. There's a difference between understanding the Ritzon of Hashem and the Tzivui of Hashem. Bil'am knew that the Ritzon of Hashem was not to go out to curse the Jewish nation. And at the beginning, when Hashem came and he told him, go, he told him, you're going to go to tell them the future. You're not going to go and curse them. But Bil'am wanted to go to curse them. Because as long as Hashem doesn't tell him, don't curse, he will curse. And he wants to curse. Because that's what Bil'am wants to do. And therefore, Kadosh Baruch Hu keeps on trying to send in the messages, wake up and smell the coffee. And he doesn't care. Because he doesn't, as long as he doesn't hear it outright, I could see clear messages. It doesn't matter. Because I still want to do what I want to do. And I want to make sure even that maybe I might even convince you to do it as well. And therefore you come and you ask Hashem again. It's like a child. A child comes to their father and he says, listen, can I go to a birthday party? Can I go to overnight? Right? I want to sleep over. And what happens? You come and you say, no. And then he comes the second time around. Now, the child already knows that the father doesn't want, or the mother doesn't want. And not only that, he already asked. And the answer was no. Why is he going again? Because he wants to convince the parents to say yes, that even though it's against their will, because they don't want it. But at the end of the day, this is exactly what he wants, what the child wants. And therefore, they're going to do it again and again until finally the parents might just say, you know what, just go. Forget about it. Just go. Why? Now, you ask the child, did your parents want you to come to the birthday? We're going to say, of course. He told me yes. Who are you fooling? You're fooling yourself. The answer was no from the beginning, and you knew that. You even asked, and you got to know. But after you ask a third or fourth time, or whatever it is, finally he says, you know what, just do whatever you want. What does that mean? Whatever you want. Not that I want, because I don't want it. And you know that that's what I don't want. So what are you trying to do? That's your will. You're trying to impose it on somebody else. Our mission in this world is that we have to annul our will to do His will, to do the will of a God, of Hashem. And therefore not to make our Ratzon, but that's the Ratzon Hashem. Many times we have different Ratzonot. We want to do certain things. And then we come and we put them on people. We impose them, whether it's on our spouses, whether it's on our children, whether it's on our parents, whether it's on the siblings, and anyone. But this is what we want. So what this is what's supposed to be done. And therefore, what it's coming to teach us is this week's parasha. Now we actually understand the differences. Bilam understood that he couldn't go against Hashem. If he was just up there from the beginning, he would have said, no. I cannot go against the mouth of Hashem. But he meant the mouth. Because really, Be'emet, as long as Hashem didn't tell him to do something, he was going to go against for his heart, against Hashem. And he didn't care. And our mission is to understand what is it, Tzon Hashem. The Tzon Hashem is what Hashem wants us to do. Even he doesn't even have to spell it out. Have a wonderful day.